was just hurt constantly at night and day, and I would get ready to go out and take a bath and go out, and then my leg would just lock, like you would just take a key and lock something. When I went to work, well, it got so bad that I couldn't kneel down to dust, and I couldn't climb high to reach because I was just scared, you know. But I would just go on and do the best I could. I would work a while and sit down a while, work a while and sit down a while. And July the 4th, I was getting ready to have a barbecue, and I went out my door and I just fell.
It was then apparent to Loretta what she had passed off as arthritis was getting worse, and it was time to see a doctor.
So when I went to the doctor, he examined me, but from my waist up. And so he said he didn't see anything wrong, you know, still thinking that this was arthritis, you know.
She lived in constant pain. A few months later, Loretta's daughter went into the hospital for surgery. And when her daughter's doctor noticed her pain, he knew there was something seriously wrong.
The doctor came out and he approached me. He says, Miss Stafford, I want to talk to you about your daughter. And so each time I tried to get up, just seemed like I couldn't move. It had locked. And it was very embarrassing because there's about 35 or 40 people sitting there. And here's this doctor telling you, come on, you know, he wanted to talk to you and you couldn't move. So finally he came over and he helped me up.
He scheduled her to be x-rayed the next morning. And when he saw the results, he was amazed she had been able to walk.
He said, how are you walking around? He said, all this hip bone have deteriorated. Said it was just a hole there, nothing holding it up, it was just gone. And so he said, well, Miss Stafford said, you're gonna have to have surgery right away.
Loretta underwent surgery to have her hip joint rebuilt. After surgery, she was in a lot of pain. She underwent therapy and was able to move around with the aid of a walker. However, the pain was so severe she couldn't sleep. So she would often watch television throughout the night. Many days she had prayed for healing, and God answered her prayers one night as she was watching Success in Life.
And every morning I would turn on, I would look at him, and I would say, Lord, I wish he'd give me a word. Lord, I was just hoping that he would. Around a little after 5, he said somebody had a hip, in the right hip, and so they'd been on a walker, and phrased something like that. And he said, if you get up now in Jesus' name, he said, the Lord is going to heal you. So I lay there with my companion, we lay there in the bed, and so he said, I said, get up right now. And it was just like that God called my name and was telling me to get up. So I got up, and I ran to my kitchen, and I ran back to my bedroom, and I sat down, and I realized what I did. Then I ran all the way through the house, and then I came back to the bedroom, and I sat down. I told my husband, I said, look, I'm walking.
Later that morning, she got up and got washed and dressed without any help and waited to show her therapist she was healed.
I told him, I said, Mike, I said, the Lord have healed me this morning. And so he just kept standing there, so I got up and I did some things to show him. And so me and him, you know, we were just praising God together, you know, and rejoicing over my healing. So he told me, he said, now wait a minute, you slow down here. So he had me to do some things. And so that particular morning, he said, my sister, you are healed.
The next day, she had an appointment with her doctor, and he was amazed at what he saw.
And I went on to tell him about it and everything. So he said, well, we're going to see. So he put the x-ray up there. And then he looked at me and he said, I'm going to give you some arthritis pill. He said, no, you don't need no arthritis pill. And he said, you don't need your walker. He said, go on out of here and go do your Christmas shopping. I picked up my walker, put it under my arm, and I walked out of there.
Loretta takes the news of her healing everywhere she goes, and it is a witness that God will not hold any good thing from those who serve him.
I've been to different surrounding little towns here where I live, and I was letting people know that God can save, he can heal, and he can make a way for you. And let them know there is nothing too hard for the Lord. And I was telling them, I said, I've read about it, I saw it on TV, but now it happened to me.